Good afternoon, class. I'm just getting all the students in. And then we'll get started. What is that sign, Denisa and Jocelyn? What does that mean? That you're doing with your hands?
I think it's a heart. They're trying to connect their heart together. That's funny.
Thank you. Okay, everyone. So this is the next 3 classes are going to be important. We're going to start working on your final project today, which is your student educational plan. So let's make sure. So I've graded all of your discussions from last week. Some of you did great. Some of you maybe missed parts of it. And so I did write individual comments for feedback to your discussions. So if you haven't already reviewed that, I want you to do so because it's going to let you know whether the information you put for the classes you need for the major were spot on or whether you're going to need more information and where to look for that. We're going to review, before I get started with working on your educational plan today, we're going to review how to look for major prep depending on your educational goal because you need that information for the first part of your educational plan. So definitely have a notebook out today. Or you're going to also be using a PDF where you're going to be doing an educational plan. Let me let a couple more students in. So I really want you guys, we're going to be all on the same page today, starting to work on it. Some of you did miss your midterm projects. That was 100 points you missed out on. So I really want all of you to complete this final project so that you have a chance of passing the class because that was a lot of points to miss. So please, please, please follow along for the next 3 classes because it's going to make your project much easier and you're going to be able to get most of it done with class. I'm just letting a couple more students in. Okay. So the agenda for the class, first we're going to review how to search for major prep depending on your educational goals. So we're reviewing what you were supposed to complete for your discussion last week. And so this will be your opportunity to ask questions and we're going to be doing it live together so that we all understand it. Then we'll go over the instructions for your student educational plan, which is due next Sunday, December 19th, worth 100 points. It's your final project. Then we're going to start the educational planning lecture, part 1 of it, and you're going to be working with me as we go on completing your educational plan, and then we'll review what homework we have. So it's going to be a busy day. Any questions before we get started? Okay. So let's review. Okay, so to search for major prep course, it depends first of all what your educational goal is. I'm get a student in here. Okay. So if you're thinking about transferring from LA Mission College to a UC or a Cal State, we're going to be using assist.org. And we're going to review that again today. If you're thinking about transferring from LA Mission College to a private university, we're going to need to look at the private university's website. Now, this can be a little bit tricky. Some of you did mention private universities. For the purpose of this project, you might be making your life a little bit more difficult if you choose that way, but if you really are gung-ho and you want to learn this information, you definitely can do that. And then I would recommend, meeting with me for office hours, reaching out to me with questions because it can be a little tricky looking directly at a private school's website to see what the transfer requirements are. And then lastly, if you're thinking about getting an associate's degree or an associate degree for transfer at LA Mission College, Then we're going to be using the college catalog and the ADT sheets that are going to be linked up in the student educational plan instructions. So let's go step by step to review how to do each of these. So the first thing we're gonna look at is transferring to a Cal State or a UC. So I want someone in the chat, tell me, so what website do I go to see what I need to transfer from a community college to a UC or a Cal State? What website should we look at that we just talked about? You can put it in the chat. Say I want to transfer to UC Santa Cruz from LA Mission College. What website should I be looking at? Very good, Jacqueline. Yes, assist.org. Thank you. So let's go look at that. And I want someone in the chat. Let's go to assist.org. Let me share my screen. Okay. So remember, this was part of your assignment. If your educational goal was to transfer to a Cal State or UC, this is what you were hopefully doing last week for the discussion. You're going to need this information for your educational plan. So if you didn't do this last week, it's really imperative that you do it now and practice doing this and understand how to do it so that you can include it in your educational plan. Okay, so first we need to know where we're transferring from, right? So we always start with the institution that we're transferring from. For the purposes of this assignment, it's going to be LA Mission College because I'm teaching through LA Mission College. Someone in the chat tell me a UC or a Cal State you would like to transfer to. And you can put it in the chat. Axel put Berkeley. Awesome. So we're going to put in UC Berkeley, and then we click on View Agreements. Now, someone give me a major to transfer into at UC Berkeley from LA Mission College, and you can put it in the chat. Jacqueline says fine arts. So good example. Not all campuses offer the same majors. So this is important. And some of you, I wrote that comment. You might have picked a certain university like UCLA and a major that maybe doesn't exist there. So that's something that you'll find out in your research and with talking with counselors, that sometimes the majors have different names depending on the campus. Sometimes universities offer different majors. So for example, typing in fine arts, I can see that major does not exist at Berkeley. If I did music, however, I could do music and that exists at Berkeley. So what's another major we want to do since fine arts is not, let's do political science. Okay, Axel said political science. So I click on political science and I click on view agreement. So everyone in this class who wants to transfer to a UC or Cal State, especially for the purpose of this project, this final project, we need to understand how to do these steps, right? View agreement. Okay. There's lots of information on this articulation agreement that you'll be going over with a counselor. But what I want us to look at for the purpose of the assignment is we scroll down to where it says major requirements. Sometimes it will say lower division major requirements. Sometimes it will say pre-major requirements, major requirements. And then we want to look at the courses on the right side of the agreement. That means that these are the courses I would need to take at LA Mission College prior to transferring to Berkeley to be a competitive applicant in the major. Now here it says select 2 courses from the following. That means I can just choose 2 of these. I don't need to do all 3. So I could choose political science 1 and political science 2 if I wanted to, or I could do political science 2 and political science 7. It would be up to me, but I need to choose. Then it says additional political science requirement. It says select 1 course from the following for history. So I would choose 1 of these courses on the right side, and then end of agreement. So I know if I want to transfer to UC Berkeley as a political science major, I need 2 of these political science classes and 1 of these history courses. It's important that I note the course number is political science 1. The course title is the government of the United States. And this number in the parentheses is how many units a course is. And this is important because you're going to need to know all 3 things for your educational plan that we're going to work on today. Any questions about looking at assist? for major prep. We're going to do another example, and Louise put business. So we're going to do another example, and we're going to do a Cal State instead. So I want you guys to tell me, what do I need to do? What's my first step? I go to assist.org, and I want to see what I'm going to need to transfer to a Cal State in business. So what's the first step I should do? You guys can either unmute yourself and say it or put it in the chat. Here on the home page, what's the first step that I should do? Good, I'm on the homepage of assist.org. Then what's the next step that I do now? What do I have to click first? I want to make sure we all know this because a lot of you did put Cal States and UC, so we need to know how to use this website, and you're going to need it for your project. So what do I do first? I go to the institution I'm transferring from, LA Mission College. Then I'm going to select agreement with other institutions. This is where I pick the Cal State or the UC I'm interested in transferring to. Someone tell me a Cal State they're interested in transferring to. CSUN. Good. Okay, so this is a good example. Monica said CSUN, so we're going to do CSUN. Axel mentions Cal Lutheran. So Cal Lutheran is actually a private university. So that's going to be separate. We have to look directly at their website. So if you're not sure which ones are Cal States or UCs, you can click here and you can scroll and see all the schools that are offered. It's just UCs and Cal States, private university. Public universities in California. Cal Lutheran is a private university, so we would look directly at their website. Again, for the purposes of this assignment, it might be easier to stick to just a UC or a Cal State, but if you really, really are gung-ho about looking into a private school, again, reach out to me with questions because we're going to go over it briefly in class today, how to do so, but it can be a little bit trickier. Okay, so let's look at CSUN. Then I click on View Agreements. The major that we're going to look at is business because someone mentioned business. So here, if I start typing business, I can see that CSUN has all these different options that are in the umbrella of business administration. So what this means is that the major would be business administration with an emphasis in one of these options. So there's an option in business analytics, business law, global supply chain management, real estate, systems operations, financial planning, etc. Lots of choices at CSUN. Not all majors will have this, but some will. So what kind of business option do we want to look into out of these ones that are listed here? And Luis mentions Harvard. Harvard is also a private university, so we would need to look directly at their website. Marketing. Okay, so Monica said marketing. Let's click on marketing. Then we're going to click on View Agreement. Again, lots of information here. For right now, let's just look at lower division major prep courses. We're looking at the right side. So let's see how we would read this, right? Because this one's a little bit more complicated. So I would need accounting 1. Here it says or. So that means I have a choice of doing accounting 1 or these 2 classes. Well, I'm going to make it easier for myself. I also know because I'm a counselor, most business programs need me to do accounting 1. So I'm going to do accounting 1, introductory accounting 1, 5 units. This is important to note how many units it is because you're going to need to count up your units for your ed plan, and we're going to come back to that. Then I skip down here. I need accounting 2. I have a choice of which law class I want to do. So I'm going to do business 5, business law 1 with 3 units. I need econ 1, econ 2, CAOT 32. I have a choice of one of these courses. So I'm going to do CIS 101. Calculus, it says select one course from the following. So I select one calculus course. I'm going to do Math 265. I need one statistics course. So I'm going to select one of these stats courses, Math 227. So I would know for my ed plan, I would need accounting 1, accounting 2, business 5, econ 1, econ 2, CAOT 32, CIS 101, one of the calculus courses, one of the statistics courses. We're going to keep going over this in the ed plan as well. So this is just a brief reminder. Any questions about how to use Assist? Should I be looking at any classes on the left side? Do I need this information on the left side? Yes or no? Do I need to look at this information on the left? when doing this assignment? No one's there? No one wants to answer? No, we don't need it. We're just looking at the right side when we're looking at this. These are the courses we would need to take at LA Mission College. Okay. Let's now do looking at, so I'm going to save, so if you're interested in a private university, you would do something like this. I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to go over it in detail because it's a little bit more detailed. If you really want to do that for your project, reach out to me and we can meet for office hours separately. But let's say, because one of you said Otis Otis College. So I would Google transfer requirements, Otis College. And of course I did a bunch of typos there. Otis College of Art and Design. So this is the private school. This is the reason why I'm Googling it. I went to transfer requirements. It's going to tell me about what they're looking at. It's not very specific in terms of classes. So this is when you would really meet with a transfer counselor, and they would probably recommend that you talk to a representative from Otis College to see what you would need in terms of specific classes as a transfer student. So for the purposes of this assignment, I really would stick to a UC, a Cal State, or an associate's degree or a combination of those. If you really want to do a private school, reach out to me through Canvas inbox and we can work on it together. Okay, so if you want to get an associate's degree or an associate degree for transfer, we can look at the LA Mission College catalog, and we also have ADT sheets. So let's look, for example, at the catalog. Let me pull it up. So remember that you can link to the catalog through Canvas. You can also Google the catalog and search online. So if I go to college catalog, I know that the list of majors starts on page 16 and it's alphabetical. So I can click Command F and I can put in the page number so that I can go straight to it. So for example, say I wanted to get an associate in arts in interior design. This is how I would look at it. So this is if I only want to get an associate's degree at Mission College and I have no intention of transfer, I'm going to be looking at the LA Mission College catalog. My required courses would be all of these listed under required. So I would need to list every single one of these required courses, the course number, the course title, and the units. Then it says select one of the following interior design history courses. I would choose one of these. Select one of the following space planning courses. I would choose one of these. And select one of the following building info modeling courses. Choose one of these. I know that I would have a total of 32 units for my major. And that's how I would choose if I wanted an interior design associate's degree with no transfer in mind. If your main goal is to transfer from a community college to a four-year university, we want to focus on transfer requirements because that's what's going to make you a competitive applicant when you go to apply. If we look at, let's see, which one do I want to show you here? Okay, there's another option for associate's degrees. If you are interested in transfer, especially to a Cal State, remember we talked about an associate degree for transfer, which is a transfer guarantee program between the California community colleges and the Cal State system. So say I want to transfer to CSUN as a business major. Well, I definitely would want to look into getting an associate degree for transfer business administration because it's going to give me priority consideration to the Cal States. It's going to give me a 0.1 GPA bump when I go to apply to the Cal State. It's going to ensure that I complete my bachelor's degree at the Cal State within 60 units. And if I don't get into the campus I want, the Cal State system will hold a space for me on a campus that has space. So if I wanted to get an associate degree for transfer in business administration, you'll see that it's very similar to what we saw on Assist for business administration, right? Accounting 1, Accounting 2, Business 5, Econ 1, Econ 2. And then I choose one of these courses, either stats or calculus, and then I need two of these courses. So I would choose Business 1 and CIOT 82. Again, if your goal is to transfer, we want to look at transfer requirements. So we still would need to look at assist, even if because assist has some extra courses, right, that are not listed here. Any questions about looking, and this was review right from last Wednesday's lecture, but again, I wanted to kind of drill it in again because we're going to need this for your project going forward. Any questions about looking up major requirements for an associate's degree or an associate's degree for transfer? Okay. If anything pops up throughout the class, please make sure to ask. Let's get started. We're gonna look now at the instructions for your educational plan before we start actually completing it. So in your week 7 module, if you go to student educational plan instructions, what you need to know to create your student educational plan. First, you're picking one educational goal, right? Whether you're working towards a certificate, working towards an associate's degree, or transferring. If you're transferring, you are taking lower division courses at LA Mission College to prepare for your major. Once you get to the university, you will take upper division courses in your major. Once you determine your goal, you will find out how many units you need and what classes you need to take to fulfill the requirements. We're going to review how many units are needed for your ed goal in a little bit. If you are working towards an associate's degree or transfer to a college or a university, you typically need 3 types of classes: major requirements, general education, and electives. So for an associate's degree or an associate degree for transfer, you'll be looking at the LA Mission College catalog, or I also have a link to these ADT fact sheets. Remember, an ADT is an associate degree for transfer. We were just looking at a business administration one. Here's another way to look at it. It shows your required core and which ones you need to select. For transfer to a UC or a Cal State, you're going to look at assist.org, which we just reviewed. And again, for private universities, you go directly to a university's website. If you need help with that, reach out to me. We're going to be talking about general education requirements after we get through major. So we'll talk about this part in a little bit later. But what I want you all to do right now, because you're going to need to start working on this, and I want you to get familiar, is you're going to go to this page in the module. So you're going to go to week 7. Make sure that you've reviewed all these pages before you get to this page so it lets you get there. I've already reviewed them, so I can go directly there. And we're going to click on download the educational plan blank fillable pages. This is what you're going to be filling out for your final project. You can click on the little arrow and it's going to download it. Once you download it to your device and you pull it up, it's going to look like this. It's going to look like this, and you're going to be able to fill it in. The first thing I want you to do is put your name. Okay. So I'll give you all a second to pull that up, and then we're going to get started learning how to fill this out. So for this project, we're going to be first listing all major courses needed for your educational goal. Then we're going to list all general education courses needed for your educational goal. Then you will see if you need to complete prerequisites for any of your courses and list each prerequisite for your target course. We're going to talk about what a prerequisite is and how to figure out if a class you need to take has a prerequisite. Lastly, you will plan 2 semesters with the appropriate major, GE, and elective courses. You'll submit the plan by Sunday, December 19th, and it's worth 100 points. So as you guys are getting that out, any questions before we get started? Okay. So educational planning, part 1 of 2. So this is ideally 2 sessions. This will probably bleed. We'll see how we're doing. It might bleed into 3 sessions, but hopefully we'll get through it today and Monday so that next Wednesday will be a day to finish everything up and I'll be available for questions. So we're going to talk about how to pick your classes. And it's important that we know this so that you're not taking any classes you don't need when trying to reach your educational goal. Let me look in the chat. There might be some questions. Okay. Okay, so your teacher, Miss Marshall, just let me know that you guys are out of school December 17th. And if I can edit the due date to that, yes, I can definitely do that. I'll edit the due date to be Friday, December 17th, which means you guys have 2 less days to work on it. It originally was the 19th because that is the last official day of the semester. But hopefully, so then we definitely want to get this done by next Friday. So yes, I will edit that and let me make a note. So you'll have until December 17th, 11:59 p.m. So till right before midnight on Friday. Thank you, Miss Marshall. Okay. Yes, that's perfect. Thank you. Okay. So let's continue. Okay, so our focus these 2 sessions is completing the ed planning form. So we talked, this is review from, what's today? Wednesday, review from Monday of what kinds of higher educational outcomes are possible. We talked about certificates, associate degrees, bachelor's degrees, and graduate programs. So think about, what is your educational goal? Do you want to transfer? And do you want to do so with or without an associate's degree? Do you want to get only an associate's degree? Or do you have a different educational goal? On Monday, we also talked about public schools versus private schools in terms of universities. What makes a school public? Typically the funding and the cost of it. Different universities vary in size, their focus, their costs, admissions requirements, etc. We also talked about the different UC campuses and Cal State campuses. Here we have all the UC campuses. Here we have all the Cal State campuses. These are our public universities within California. These are the universities that we will use assist.org to see what the major lower division prep classes are. So let's talk about how many units are needed for your goal. If you want to transfer to a UC or a Cal State, you'll need at least 60 transferable units by the end of the spring before you transfer. So if I want to go to a UC or a Cal State, how many units do I need to complete at a community college prior to transfer? How many units do I need to transfer to a UC or a Cal State if I'm starting at a community college? So say I go to LA Mission College, you guys put in the chat, how many units do we need to transfer to a UC or a Cal State? This is important because you need this information for your ed plan. Hint, hint, it's right in front of you. How many units do you need? 60. Yes, Axel. Yes, Monica. Thank you. You need 60 units. So this is important because you'll need to know that on your educational plan, you're going to need your major classes and your general education classes to add up to at least a minimum of 60. Some private schools will allow you to come in as a sophomore. Some private schools, for instance, USC, will let you transfer with a minimum of 30 units. Again, though, there's specific classes you would need to take to try and meet that goal. Some schools will let you transfer as a freshman, but then they're going to be looking at your high school work. The beauty of being a transfer student, especially if high school maybe wasn't, maybe didn't exhibit your best work, as a transfer student, if you're transferring as a junior with the 60 plus units, you're starting over. Most schools will not be looking at SAT scores. They will not be looking at high school grades. They'll just be looking at your performance as a college student at the community college. So that's really great. Okay, let's get started. So on that ed planning sheet that you've hopefully now downloaded to your desktop, if you're thinking about a transfer university for this project, put down the name of the transfer university. You're gonna check off if you wanna get an associate's degree, and we're gonna put total amount of units required for your ed goal. So let's look at the sheet. So for me, I'm gonna put my transfer university is gonna be, why is this not letting me type in? Of course, my computer's frozen now. Let's see. Okay, so what you want to put first is the name of the transfer university you're interested in if you're thinking about transfer. I'm not going to get an associate's degree because I want to go to a UC. I don't need to get an ADT, so I'm not going to check anything there. And I know I need 60 units at least to get to a UC or a Cal State. So what you should have filled out so far is your name, the name of the transfer university you're interested in, if you are you going to get an associate's degree? And specifically, are you going to get an associate degree for transfer and which major? So say instead of UC Santa Cruz, I want to do CSUN and I want to study business administration. So I am going to get an associate degree for transfer because I want to go to CSUN. I want that transfer guarantee program. I'm going to put my major. I'm going to put business admin, and I know that I still need 60 units. Also for an associate's degree, you need 60 units. If you want to get an associate degree, you have to have 60 units as well. So it's the same as transfer. Any questions about filling out this first part? So now all of you should have you've downloaded the ed plan to your desktop. You've put your name, the transfer university you're choosing, if you're getting an associate's degree, and if so, what major, how many units you need. That's all we've done so far. Any questions about that part? Go ahead, and once you've done that, write done in the chat so I know where everyone's at. Your name, transfer university if you're going to do it, associate's degree if you're going to do that, and how many units are needed. So I have 3 students done so far. I'll wait a couple of minutes while you guys are completing that. Anyone else done with this first part? I'm going to move forward because we have a lot of information to cover. We can always come back. You can always ask me a question. I will also be posting today's lecture on the module so that you can review it and work on whatever you don't get done in class at home. And then you'll have this to follow, okay? All right. So let's go back to the lecture. Okay, so we've put the name of the transfer university if we're thinking about transfer. We selected if we're gonna get an associate's degree or not. If so, what associate's degree, what major, and we've put how many units are required for our educational goal. Associate's degrees and transfer, you need 60 units. So the major you're selecting, you started doing major exploration last week. You might change your mind before you get to college. You might change your mind once you're in college. It's gonna be your specialty, what you decide, right? These are your major courses, what you're specializing in, what your main focus is gonna be with the classes that you're taking. You have to declare a major, whether to get an associate's degree or to transfer. You have to declare your major beforehand because you're working towards that educational goal. I can't, if I want to transfer to UCLA from LA Mission College, I can't go as undecided. I have to choose my major before, and I have to complete certain major prep courses like we reviewed today and last week to be able to be a competitive applicant to that major. Typically, when you meet with your counselor, they're going to recommend that you complete your major courses early on. The earlier on you get them done, it looks better for transfer. You're also going to be getting your English and math requirements done early. So remember, to find that major information, if we're interested in a UC or a Cal State, we're going to go to assist.org like we did at the beginning of class today. If we're interested in an associate's degree from LA Mission, we're going to use the college catalog from LA Mission and the LA Mission College website, which there's a link on the instructions for the student educational plan. If we're interested in a private school or an out-of-state college, we're going to be using the college's websites from those specific universities. And we definitely want to meet with a counselor because it can be a little bit more tricky to figure out that information. Okay. So let me stop there and again show you the Ed Plan page. So some of you that already figured out the exact classes last week, again, look at the feedback I gave you on your discussion. I gave everyone feedback that completed the discussion. I let you know whether you picked the right classes, whether you need to go back and do a little bit more research. Of course, if you have questions, ask me now in class or reach out to me through Canvas inbox or email. So that information is going to be used here in major. So let me stick with business administration. I'm going to put my major here. So everyone should be doing this now. You're putting what major you have. You don't have to do business administration. Pick one that's interesting for you. So this is my next step I'm doing. I have my name, my transfer university. I am going to get an associate's degree for transfer, and I know I need 60 units at least to get to transfer and to get the associate degree for transfer. So for my major, business administration, I know that I definitely want to look at assist.org to see what major prep I need. And I'm going to be putting in my course number and name and the units here. That's the first part I'm going to be doing. So where do I find this information? Well, if I did the discussion fully last week, I can look at that information. If I didn't and I need to go back and check assist, that's what I'm going to do right now. So let's do it again together. I'm going to go to assist.org. I'm transferring from LA Mission College. I want to go to CSUN, and I want to do business administration, and I'm interested in marketing. So I'm going to click on view agreement. Remember, I just need to look at the classes on the right side. So for this part of the assignment, you want to have two windows open, right? You want assist open and you want your Ed Plan page open. For the purpose of showing you how I'm doing this, I'm going to have this open. So I see on assist that I need accounting 1. I'm going to write it exactly how it shows up on assist. So the course number and name are accounting 1 is the course number, and the name is intro accounting 1. The number within the parentheses on assist are how many units the class is. So 5 units. Then I see the next class I need is accounting 2. So I'm looking at assist and I'm writing exactly what I see on assist. And the name is introductory accounting 2. And it's also 5 units. That's the number within the parentheses. I also need business 5, and that's business law 1. And that is 3 units. It's important that we're looking at the units because we're going to add up all the units towards the end. I also need Econ 1. So why are we writing all this information? Why do I need to list all this? Well, first of all, it's going to help you when you go to enroll in your courses. Second of all, we're going to want to be able to look up these courses in the college catalog and see if it has a prerequisite. What is a prerequisite? We're going to review that again later today and on Monday. But a prerequisite means that I can't go directly into a class if a class has a prerequisite. I have to take that class first. For example, English 102 is the second level of English you guys will need for transfer. I cannot go directly into English 102 without completing the prerequisite of English 101. So I know that English 102 would have the prerequisite of English 101, meaning I need to first complete English 101 to then go into English 102. Another example, say for my major, I need calculus 2. Well, I can't go straight into calculus 2 because it has a prerequisite of calculus 1. So I need to complete calculus 1 first and then calculus 2. So I'm going to show you guys how to look at course descriptions in the college catalog to see if classes will have prerequisites. And this is important because that's going to show you how many semesters of classes you need to take. And if you have to take some classes before other ones, it's showing you how long is your goal going to take, right? So, okay, so I continue. I'm writing everything that's on assist that says it says I need to take. So I'm going to do this fully so you guys can see what I'm expecting for this assignment. This is also 3 units. I also need CIOT 32, Biz Communications, 3 units, CIS, 101, Intro to Computers, 3 units. I need a calculus course, so I'm going to do Math 265. And I'm looking at assist. I'm not just making this up. I'm looking at assist.org because my goal is to transfer, right? And we'll do an example for an associate degree as well. Okay. And that's 5 units. And then lastly, I need a statistics course. So that's Math 227, Elementary Statistics. And that's 4 units. Okay. So now I've written down all the classes that Assist says I need for my major. Again, to show you where I got that information, when you're looking at Assist, you're looking at the right side of courses. You're looking at the course number, the course title, and how many units the course is. Okay. Now, if I wanted to get an associate's degree instead, remember, I can look directly at the ADT program fact sheets if it's an associate degree for transfer, or I can look at the LA Mission College catalog. And I would be writing exactly how it says, accounting 1, introductory accounting 1, 5 units, and so forth. Any questions about that part? We're going step by step here so that you guys can follow along and hopefully work on part of it together. And we'll be circling back. So what this is gonna look like is that I'm gonna be lecturing about how to do this today and Monday. And then Wednesday will be a work day where basically I want us all to finish hopefully by the end of that class so that you don't have to worry about it since it's gonna be due Friday now, Friday the 17th. And then you'll be able to ask me questions. So any questions so far? I'm putting in the major courses. Okay, so Monica's question is what happens if your major doesn't show anything from the right? Okay, so what, and that could happen. So what major, Monica, and what school did you put in? So we can look at that together. That's a good question. So music major for CSUN. Okay, this is a good question. Let's take a look at that. So let me go back to assist. So I'm going to modify search for CSUN. We're going to put in music. Which option did you select, Monica? The first one. Okay. So we click on view agreement. So here it says no course articulated on the right for any of them, except for ensembles. So what this means, this is a really good thing that you're bringing up. This means that LA Mission College doesn't have any equivalent courses to the ones offered at CSUN. So there's a couple things what that would mean in real life. In real life, you might go to the transfer center and we find this and we're going to say, okay, let's look at other community colleges offer these classes so that you can get some of them done. And we would look at what community colleges offer them. There is one listed, so I would put the Music 501 at least for the assignment. But yeah, what this means is that LA Mission College has no equivalent. So I would either have to see if other community colleges offer these classes. If no community colleges offer these classes, then it's just classes that I'm going to be getting done at CSUN. Out of curiosity, I'm going to look really quick, and you don't have to worry about this for your assignment, but I just want to see if other schools do offer those classes. I'm going to put in Santa Monica College. So here we see, okay, Santa Monica College does offer some equivalent courses. So you will find that. That's a really good thing that you brought up. And that would definitely, you know, in the real world, you would want to come talk to a transfer counselor so we can look at that and say, okay, you know what, you might have to enroll in some courses at another community college so that you can be a competitive applicant. For the purposes of this assignment, if that happens to you, if it says no course articulated, only put classes that are listed. I don't want you to have to confuse yourself and look up another community college. Does that answer your question, Monica? Okay, good. You're welcome. Yahida's asking, where do you go for out-of-state schools again? Okay, so for out-of-state schools, we do have to look directly at their websites. We would Google something like transfer requirements NYU. Say that's the school I'm interested in. It's a little tricky. I would say if you really want to do this, make an appointment with me for office hours so we can look at it together, because it can be a little confusing because it's not going to be as straight up as what Assist is saying, take this, this, and this. They're going to be more vague. And in the real world, I would connect you with a representative, and the counselors would connect you with a representative from those universities, because especially with out-of-state schools, since they are more vague on the website, we really want to make sure that you're talking to an admissions counselor from those universities to see how to be the most competitive applicant you can be and exactly what types of courses you can take if it's not listed on their website. Good questions. Does that answer your question, Yahida? Any other questions so far? Okay. Really good questions. Keep them coming. The more questions you ask, the easier it's going to be for you in general, in life, and in school. Okay. So let's go back to this. Okay. So we've put in our transfer university. Are we getting an associate's degree? The name of our major, how many units we need for our goal, and we put our major courses and the units they need. Now I want to see, what are those courses about that are listed? How do I know what that course is about? What is accounting one about? Well, you're going to look at the course descriptions in the college catalog. Also, that course description is going to show you how many units that class is, the description of the course, is it a transferable class? And it's also going to show me if it has a prerequisite. Oops, that skipped. So let's look at the LA Mission College catalog. Okay. So here is just the listing of what I need for this associate degree for transfer. But I want to see if accounting, first of all, I want to see what is accounting one about. I want to see what it's transferable to. And I want to see, is there a prerequisite? So to go to the course descriptions in the college catalog, you see it starts on page 71. And I can't type correctly today. Okay. So I can either scroll down to page 71, or I did the Command F to do the search. And course descriptions are done in an alphabetical way. So I know if I wanted to look at accounting one, so you're going to need to be doing this. Okay, accounting one, 5 units. It says it's UC transferable and Cal State transferable. It gives me a description of what the class is all about. And it says prerequisite, none. So I don't have to worry about writing a prerequisite for that class. This is also really good practice because what happens with a lot of students, especially with business, I actually find this with students. A lot of students want to study business. You might, and this is not just for business, it can be for any major. You might have an idea of what you want to study, but it's really important to read course descriptions of classes you're going to need to take because you want to see if it actually interests you. For example, business administration, you do have to take sometimes multiple math classes. You want to read about those math classes. Does that interest you? Are you going to feel motivated to take those classes? So it's good practice to learn how to read course descriptions in a college catalog so you can pick classes that you actually like taking. Because we're going to be talking also on Monday about general education courses, which are requirements of different courses from different disciplines that you'll need to take. And you have some freedom there to pick and choose out of a variety of courses. So if you read about them, pick stuff that you're actually interested in learning about, right? That's the fun part of college. You get to learn about all these different things, but you want to like what you're learning about. So this is important information that you're going to need to know for this project, because if I go back to the ed planning page, here it says prerequisite or skills advisory. Well, it said none for accounting 1, so I'm just going to write none, and I don't have to worry about it. I'm going to do the same. I'm going to look at accounting 2. Is there a prerequisite? And I'm looking at the prerequisite actually. So if I go back to the catalog, I go to accounting 2, there is a prerequisite. It's accounting 1, right? So that means I do need to take accounting 1 before I can get into accounting 2. I can't just go straight into accounting 2. So then I would go back to my ed planning sheet. Of course, for you, you're going to have both screens open, right? You're going to have the college catalog and the ed plan sheet. And I see, okay, I do need to take accounting 1 first. It's a prerequisite for accounting 2. So this is this third step, right? You've put down all your major courses. Now I'm going to the college catalog and I'm looking at, do these classes have prerequisites? And I'm going to list either none if no prerequisite is listed, or what the prerequisite is for each of these courses. So again, if my next class that I need to look at is business 5, I scroll down to the B's, or I could also type in business if I want to go directly there. So business 5, no prerequisite. So again, I would write none on my ed plan sheet. Now I want to look at Econ 1. So I go scroll down to the E's. I have my ed plan sheet and the catalog next to each other. For you guys, I can only show one screen at a time, but I am writing this as I go along. So I look for Econ 1. Does it have a prerequisite? No. So I'm going to write none. Econ 2 I also need to take. Is there a prerequisite? No. So that means I could take Econ 2 before I took Econ 1 if I wanted to. They're not prerequisites for each other. It's not like accounting. My next classes are CAOT 32, so I need to go back up to the C's. And it's all alphabetical. So CAOT 32 here. Okay, so prerequisite. English 101. That means I have to take my English 101 before I can get into CAOT 32. It also has these advisory courses. When it says advisory, it means that the college is recommending you take these courses prior to taking this course because you're going to gain some skills that are going to help you be successful in that class. But it's not an enforced prerequisite, which means you'll still be able to enroll directly in this class without completing CAOT 1 and 31. However, I would absolutely need to complete English 101 before this class because it is a prerequisite. A prerequisite means it's enforced. The system will not let me enroll without completion of that prerequisite. So then I'm going to write for the prerequisite for CAOT 32 is English 101. So let me show you what my ed plan sheet is looking like so far. I'm listing whether or not they have a prerequisite and what the prerequisite is. So this is what I want you guys to work on today and Monday. I want you to complete this top section. I want you to complete putting all your major courses needed depending on your educational goal. You need the course number and name and the units. And I want you to put the prerequisites. That's all you need to worry about before Monday, because we're going to start this next section together on Monday. I don't want you to jump ahead because it's going to confuse you. So what I want you to work on by Monday, so that this part's already done, you don't have to worry about it. And then you can ask questions, of course, if you got confused. It's totally fine. Like I said, I'm going to post today's lecture on the module so that if you need to work on stuff at home as well, you can follow along with me with the recorded lecture. So by Monday, you should have this top section completed. Pick your major, list your list your major prep courses, the units, and if they have prerequisites and what they are. That's all you have to worry about by Monday. Then remember, you still have for this week, and you don't have to, you're not submitting the ed plan yet. You're just working on it, right? We're going to submit that next Friday. But what you do need to submit by Sunday, if we go back to our, oh, that's not where the class stuff is. What you do need to work on and submit by Sunday, as well as we're finishing this part up. You remember you have a discussion 7, life vision, and quiz 7, higher education and educational planning. Any questions about, so these two things are due Sunday, and what we worked on today with the ed plan, if you didn't finish up, have that ready for Monday to either ask questions or be ready to go on to the next part of the ed planning process. Any questions? All right, we have about 2 more minutes, so you can keep working, and I'm here for questions if you have questions. Okay, Luis, thank you for letting me know. All right, everyone. If you have questions between now and Monday, please send me a message through Canvas inbox or email, and have a great rest of your week. Thank you. Bye-bye.